Okay, welcome back YouTube, back for another video. Now this one is kind of special. This is basically, I suppose you could say this is perhaps the biggest model that I've ever attempted. I'm going to bring it into shot now. This is, let me zoom out, the 28mm scaled MkIII Shuttle by Second Dynasty. Now these are ships that are designed to be printed yourself. However, I actually brought this myself. Bought it from somebody who printed it for me. And so basically, they do a massive range of ships, from little tiny one-man fighters right the way up to a 3.5 foot 3-deck Leviathan of a beast, with, we're talking like it's even got its own hangar. It's a massive ship. And again, like I say, all these things are kind of designed to be printed by you at home. I mean, this came to me in bits, and I had to assemble it myself as if I printed it, because obviously it comes in bits, so you got to sort of connect it together. It's connected by just think if I can find the bag of spares, with like plastic clips, which you do get obviously a bunch of spares. So it's these things here. I think it's called the snap lock system, something like that. I think they're like trademarked, but that's the sort of clip. There's 3 different types actually, which I've got 2 of. And I think there's 4 different types in total that they utilise to build their ships. So as you can see with these ones, we have some half clips which are useful for, like for instance, the whole top part comes off to show you the inside, and these clips are handy for allowing you to lift the top off without it actually, about having to use force to actually pull it off. Where the other clips kind of clip in, so it makes it like more difficult to pull out. They do kind of have a little bit of a failing in the fact that sometimes when you pick it up in a particular way, you might get like the front clips starting to come loose, or sometimes the back starts to come loose. I don't think I've ever had it actually like break off in 2, but maybe that's obviously circumstance for perhaps sticking them together more permanently, because obviously the main body shape doesn't really need to ever be altered unless you want to print out some extra bits, because obviously they're all modular, so you can get extra bits to change it into different types of shuttle. Basically, this is just the basic version that I have here. Now this is, like I say, it's massive. If I were to bring in a 28mm figure and place him down, you can see that his head is basically just on the hull. So you can see that he's pretty much a midget in comparison to the thruster engines, and it's kind of like I would say it's like a long distance shuttle. It's kind of designed for a crew of 4, and it's designed to carry like 12 guys in the back with seats, and obviously you could carry loads of cargo too, as you'll see when I open it up. It has, let me do a sort of spin around on it. So we have the moving thruster engines here. We have the cockpit here. Now it is possible, if you're blessed enough to have a decent enough printer, that you can actually get a clear cockpit. Now this, I believe, was their first big ship that the company did. It's a company called Second Dynasty, like I mentioned before, and they, I think at the time, well, it still is actually quite difficult to get a really decent clear cockpit. So they actually redesigned this ship and made it the MkIII Shuttle. This is the MkIII, and that has actually got a more of a squared off cockpit with more windows rather than this big open clear glass. That's obviously a lot easier to do your own windows, because I think you can more or less just make your own out of clear plastic or clear, there's clear plastic sheets or whatever. Also, there's, like I say, there's numerous variations you can build the shuttle into. You can give it. There's like a winged variant. There's a cargo version. There's a bus version, which is like extended, and there's also two different armed versions. There's like a missile version and a turret, cannon or turret version. Again, all sort of like sort of custom added bits. Continue sort of spinning around the ship. Paint wise, I wanted to keep it kind of clean, so I used I gave it a black undercoat and used Army Painter Starship exterior, strangely enough, which actually works really well. So it's not surprising that a paint called Starship exterior looks good on the exterior of a Starship. I also did some sort of like different coloured panels that perhaps have been replaced, and I went in and highlighted a lot of the panels with black striping, which I actually used a lot of. Again, my paint pen came in really handy for doing that. And so if we sort of turn it around towards the front, so there's the front. I think again I used periscope on the cockpit. I think that came out really cool. These like holes that you can see here, I think they're I think it was designed so that you could put lights in it if you wanted. I actually kind of, in my sort of imagination, I'm sort of thinking that these three down here could be like missile tubes, and these three up here could perhaps be cannons, or at least that's what I'm going to make them. If we spin it around to the opposite side, you can see the sleek lines, and if we tip it up sideways, you can see the landing gear. It's even got like landing gear doors, which is really cool. And as we turn it around, you can see the rear ramp, which I decided to do a sort of a hazard pattern on. And obviously the rear ramp does come down, so let's bring that down, and also it like double extends as well, so you can bring it down like that. Really cool. And then if we spin it back around again, and then I'll actually remove the top. So like I say, the whole top comes off. It's a little bit tight because of the, I think it's because of the paint. It's made it a little bit tight. It always gets stuck on the back plate here. Now the back plate here is, you could describe it as being a little bit loose. And the reason why I decided to leave that loose and not stick it is because the inside is actually like removable. However, you can't remove it because of this part here, which basically sits over the ramp. So at the moment I've left it loose, this back piece loose, so that if I do need to take the interior out for any sort of reason, I can actually remove it easily. As you can see here, we have the just sort of, let's spin the ship round again so you can see the back. So as you can see, we have the rear ramp, we have the 12 seats for the crew, for the cargo rather, or the troops. So obviously some cargo space in the middle, and then we have this like inner airlock here, which has actually got moving doors. So if I spin it back around again, now the doors designed to like open up like that, which is really cool. So you can see that the door's open now. And inside the inner cabin, we have a locker and 2 bunks for the crew. They'll obviously have to hot bunk because it's a crew of 4. And then on the opposite side, this side, there's a weapons cabinet. So there's 2 weapons cabinets with loads of like blaster rifles and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. So there we can give you a sort of closer look at that. And then we have the inner airlock. So here again, we've opened up those doors, and then you can open up these doors too. And then you get into the cockpit. So you can actually remove the cockpit glass as well. So let's spin this round, show you the cockpit. So here we have the cockpit. So as you can see, we have the 4 seats, and I've got to say I spent a fair amount of time working on the cockpit. Let's just quickly bring that ramp up, spin it around so you can see it properly. So there we go, there's a really close in look at the cockpit. I think it came out really cool. And the other thing that I did, which I kind of did on my own back, because I'm not sure if it's supposed to actually be there, but if we look on the bottom of the roof of the ship, I've actually done like a top control panel as well, with actual like little 3D switches and knobs and buttons. So because obviously in a lot of like ships and aircraft and stuff like that, they have a lot of switches up above the pilot's head as well, so I wanted to sort of incorporate that. And I actually use like little dabs of plastic putty to make three-dimensional switches, stuff like that. So we've got like a couple of view screens, which could be helpful to the guys on the two back seats. And then we have a whole bunch of different switches and boards and stuff like that, warning lights, etc., for the main crew, which if you think of where the cockpit is, it sits directly in the correct position. So I'm really happy with that, how that turned out. And of course, as you bring the back ramp up, you can again fold down the bottom plate. But yeah, really cool model. I really enjoyed putting it together. I really enjoyed the experience, and I really hope that I think my main problem is that I don't really have room for a 3D printer in my small flat. I might possibly be able to get away with a like a resin printer perhaps, because they're quite small. But I certainly couldn't. I certainly haven't got the space for a PLA printer, which is the type of printer that you need to print these ships, which is a shame. But I've hopefully really the States is the best place for getting these ships printed. It's only really the shipping that's crippling, and plus the fact that a lot of companies don't actually internationally ship. But hopefully I might have found a contact that might be able to help me with that problem. But yeah, was my first experience of a Second Dynasty ship. I've got to say it's a really cool one, and obviously this is going to again be used for surprise core space. It's probably going to be more window dressing than anything else. However, it has actually got a decent enough interior that perhaps you could actually bring the fight onto the ship. The front two doors here are a little bit stiff, but yeah. So that is this awesome MkIII shuttle. Now I'll put everything back together again. So as you can see with the cockpit glass here, that just literally drops into place, and we spin over. You can see the clips here that are designed to just sit in the grooves, and it's only really just this bit at the very back that's a little bit tight when it comes to putting the top back on. There we go. Sometimes it goes on really easy, it's just difficult to pull off. And then you just make sure that all the everything's sort of pushed back together again to make it secure, because sometimes the back pushes out, that back plate. But yeah, so it's back in one piece, back to being stable again. Really happy with how it came out. It's just a beautiful piece of art, basically. And yeah, so that is the MkIII shuttle, and it's like I say, it's a real beauty. Okay, that's the end of this video. Hope to be back at some point within the next couple of weeks, perhaps, with my Starship Troopers, and perhaps I'll have some more information on perhaps me getting my hands on some more of these beautiful ships, although they're probably going to be smaller ones. Well, you know, perhaps I'll try and get hold of a fighter or two, and perhaps there's a little tiny sort of interplanetary shuttle which is really cool, got my eye on, which is a really cool little Model T. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Till then, bye bye.